What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Save Point Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Alex, and I am, as always, joined by my good friend Sway. And man, we actually got some stuff to talk about. Huh? Last week we relied solely on the audience, which we might do again. But there's actually been some stuff this week. I just went on social media to see Halo was canceled and all this jazz. So got Halo. There's the PS5 Pro stories that were going around today. Dragon Age and Star Wars Outlaws. It kind of feels like their week, right? Where like every day Star Wars Outlaws is getting something. And I actually today there is a new game in Flintlock, and I guess
Yeah.
also the Concord beta open to all people starting today as well. So a little light at the end of the tunnel. Seems like maybe it happened today. Sway, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Honestly, a lot of this gaming news it always gets me excited because one, it's always something to talk about with you in the chat, but also just another thing is just like it's starting to feel like we're coming back. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, with summer break, what I love about summer break is summer break, right? Even though
Yeah.
there's no break for us at work,
Yeah.
but it does feel like it's a break, but the gaming aspect never happens on summer break. So it does feel like we're coming back to something, but we're coming back to a good time.
I never understood that as a like going into my teenage years, getting the PS3, starting to actually get games probably like 13, 14, 15. And I always just wondered why, like, and you know what it really is? It's July because June tends to be full, or maybe even like late May. Like I can think to, I think my senior year in school, Watch Dogs came out end of May that year. And it was like, oh man. And June has had like the Arkham Knights of the world and Crash Insane trilogy, Team Racing. Like June tends to be pretty okay, but then
It does.
July, for whatever reason, and that is summer break for like everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like that tends to be it. And there's just nothing. And I don't understand why we're in a thing where we do May and June and then second half of August. But as we talked about last week, it seems like companies like take some time off and summer is summer, and maybe there's been like studies, right, where it's like people don't go online or they're not as home as much in summer break, like they're out doing things, so why would you release a game during it? I like to see somebody try, and I guess Ghost of Tsushima did it 4 years
It
ago, but
did.
that was because of that stuff. Like I imagine that would have been changed if that didn't happen.
Yep.
But that worked out. That was like July. Oh, what I mean, wasn't the anniversary yesterday? That was like July 17th or July 8th.
Yep.
So we've had it before.
Yeah, I just wonder why more games don't do it. I mean, like nobody's going to take the spot for whatever reason. So you
Yeah.
would think that as much as gamers always clamor, you see it every year where it gets to this month and everybody's like, man, I want something new to play. I want this. I want that. Nobody ever takes it. I'm like, you stand to make a lot of sales if
Yeah.
you do it.
I'm trying to think. Make amazing games in July. Magic. Like I'm trying to think like the whole kind of pun. They really should. They should go back to doing July.
They should.
All right. So yeah, we do have a lot to talk about. We'll whatever you guys want us to talk about in the chat, but we'll kind of just like rifle through the topics that have happened today. But how's everybody doing? Can't wait for Sparking Zero. Gohan, I'm sure you can't. I'm sure you can't wait. But just started playing Flintlock. I want to try it. I want to try it tonight. I'll put down Dragon Age Origins, which is what I'm playing right now. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Imagine Switch games. Yeah, Switch would be great. Any handheld. But with that, being set like Steam Deck and all of these like portable consoles, right? That you imagine games would do pretty well. So, we were talking a little bit about Halo before we hit live and record. So, what do you want to say about the? I watched both. Did you watch season 1 and 2? Yeah, because I think we've
Yep.
talked about it before. So it's canceled, but it's also kind of not because like Paramount canceled it, but they're going to try to get season 3 somewhere else. Do you think there should be a season 3? How do you feel about this news?
I could go one of two ways. I could either, if Amazon picks it up, and because of how they treated the Fallout series, the love that they put into it, the love that they put into the source material, the writing of the show, just everything in general was well acted. You could see the budget in every aspect of it. It looked like you could have seen it at a movie theater, which is very rare for these bigger budget shows for me.
Yeah.
And if they give it that same love and attention, I wouldn't mind if they rebooted it. I wouldn't mind if they continued it with the same actors and
Yeah.
like lightly rebooted it, or if they even continued it but like treated it better. I could go with it a lot of different ways, and I'd be okay with it. If I really want Amazon more than anyone else to pick this show up.
Yeah. Yeah, season 2 I thought was going great. And I would
Me
say that
too.
we're for a while and probably half. And then they did the controversial like kind of mid-season thing where they eliminated like half the cast and then things kind of fell apart. But yeah, I think they were on the right. Like I feel like they did listen to an extent for season 2. So I feel like if you give them one more try, do they deserve 3 attempts at this? No. But like, if you were going to give them one more try, see what they can do with. I mean, it's going now. It's like we're at Halo. We're
Yep.
at like Halo 1. So you could just follow the games, or maybe I guess if they don't want to do that. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Just follow the games. You could easily continue off if you wanted to.
yeah,
I know the actor that plays Pablo Schreier, I think
yeah.
he's very vocal, and he's one of the people that
I
constantly
liked
talk
what he
about.
said.
Yes.
Like in see like a lot of what he was talking about, like the sound bites in season 1 were really bad, but season 2 he like threw the writers under the bus and said
Yep.
like it's new writers, like it's going to be nothing like season 1. It's like, man, this guy just doesn't care anymore. So yeah, he's
No,
very like 50. You can get like the best of him or like the
you can
worst.
get the worst.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he can sometimes put his shoe in his mouth, and then
Yeah.
other times he can sound brilliant. And like
I
I said,
think he is great. I think he
yeah.
can be great as Master Chief. Like when he's
Oh,
even now that I've gotten used to him talking so much as well, like I do think he's a good chief. He just needs the direction of the writing and the situations and stuff. But I think they like found the right guy. It's just
oh,
they're kind of wasting it though.
100%. There's moments even when he's without the suit, and he's talking in the exact same like cadence and speech pattern as the chief, like without the suit, and he just carries himself as him, and it's refreshing. Like he is the chief to me. There is nobody else I could think of that would play him better, that would look how I would envision him to look.
Yeah.
So I just don't want that helmet off, hardly at all.
Yeah.
We need the suit the whole season. I don't know what was up with the budget as far as like why
They
it couldn't
took
be
their
on
suits away in like episode 3, and then they didn't get them back to the last episode. Oh man.
It was crazy. But I will say the first half, the guns were sounding how they sound in the video games. The suits were looking exactly like they were ripped out of the video games. The action was really good. And that's one thing I will give it is the action and the explosion and special effects during the action was really good. The elites look good. It was just the tease of it was just crazy. When it has its strengths, they're really strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I even think the acting was like definitely brought like everything was better in the first half of that season. And then it still was probably better than like season 1, but like it dropped off.
Fell off.
Yeah, it fell off. But yeah, I mean, talking about it, like trying to remember that it can be good at times, like does make me feel like, all right, I want to give it one more chance to see a season 3. But I don't know if it doesn't happen. I just feel like it's also not a good look, right? Because it's like Halo. This is a Halo show, and it gets canceled, and it's like the Uncharted movie was kind of like I liked it more than other people, but like it's getting a second one. Everything is kind of getting renewed in the gaming space. You know what I mean? There hasn't been like Halo has been one of the bigger failures in the last like, you know what I mean? In the last like 4 or 5 years of this, wave of trying this. Halo's been like the main failure.
It has.
So it's just not a good look,
Brand damaging to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like you're messing with the games. You can't do a show properly, like, yeah, not a good look. We can only pray nobody else picks it up. It always had good potential. Yeah. It has. If you follow, like even just telling the story of Reach, which they kind of rushed through a bit, but I think,
very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. But there was like, I think, genuine emotion, like when they were in that room with the lady and she had like the typewriter and she didn't want to leave the home and like Chief got it, like he understood, like that. I liked those kind of small isolated moments. So if they just follow the game though, I think they'll be okay.
I think they can't win. They can't mess with it.
Yeah. Voice actress for your character in Flintlock is Miranda in Halo. Oh my God, really? Well, I'll have to try it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do it tonight. The only way for season 3 to be good at all would be for it to essentially drop everything the show has, at which point, yeah. Well, like that's the thing with like some of the bigger decisions they made in season 2, like they stuck themselves with that, right? So it's like you either reboot it or you have to live with those kind of.
Just soft rebooted. I think you're right at where the game starts. So I mean, I think you can just retcon a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not going to make sense, but you're on a different network now, for lack of better terms. So a streaming platform. So you don't really have to say that it's canon to the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, but I would just start from the first game.
In other show news, I think it was confirmed that Twisted Metal season 2 started filming like yesterday or the day before.
It did, and I'm very excited.
Oh, I can't freaking wait. Is it true that? Oh yeah, so that's the next. We can talk about the PS5 Pro. So yeah, today was kind of a weird day for that, right? So like yesterday, the rumor, but I think it was kind of just like a misunderstanding of Tom Henderson. The idea was like maybe it's not going to happen this year, but then he did the article like 2 hours ago, and it very much seems like the PS5 Pro is still going to happen. There's a lot of speculation of like Tokyo Game Show, if they would show it off there, which would be a pretty cool place to do it. I made a video before like the newest thing came. Maybe I still will as like a ranting type thing. What do you think? Because like I took my aggression out on we haven't really had a generation yet, and now we're getting the, which I think you and I have talked about before. How do you feel about like a 0.5 happening in like this generation? Like, do you think we need it? Do you think we've even started the generation in the first place? What do you think?
From a game perspective, it's still, whatever reason, it feels like when you compare it to the PlayStation 2, even the PlayStation 3, even 4, we got so many more games that took advantage of the hardware. And it's like now even though we've gotten a fair bit, it's still like, it feels like the generation still hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
For a certain reason. It's been, what, 4 years now?
4 years in November, yeah.
Yep. So it's kind of hard to think about that we're already getting a Pro, and it's not even, it doesn't feel like it's needed. I can understand why they would want to if you're trying to keep up with graphics cards, because I would imagine that the 5000 series is going to come out next year.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be nearly as powerful as them, but they want to get, at least better than the 3000 series, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that that's needed. I don't know how many people would actually buy it, especially with the current landscape of gaming and the economy just mixed together. Gaming hasn't produced a ton of good games that has garnered good faith with the communities that in the gaming communities. So I don't know. I mean, you look at the PlayStation VR 2, didn't sell well. Granted, that's a niche product, but it's another piece of hardware that nobody felt the need to get, for a better term. So I don't know how it will sell or if it's even needed. The specs, the rumored specs are amazing for the console, but I just don't know if it's needed right now.
Well, the other big thing is like, I don't think developers have even taken advantage of the PS5 hardware yet, right?
No.
Like you talk about the games that have come out, and I was playing Astro's Playroom. I'm going to do a video on it, as the months go. And I was talking to a friend, and I said it might be a hot take, but like Astro's Playroom is like a top 3 PS5 exclusive. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, what are PS5 exclusives we've even gotten? And the list is shockingly small, right? Like we just haven't got. So it's the games, like amount, it's the specific games, but it's also like how they've taken advantage of the hardware. It hasn't happened at the same speed. Like by this point for PS4, it was taking advantage of more, I would imagine, than PS5. So, my old thing with games that are coming on PS5, PS4, and all that, like the stupid last gen holding us back for like the first 3.5 years of this generation did not help. Which to this comment, how much is old gen holding back current gen? I think for me, it holds it back like optically, where I just think it makes it look so bad, where it's like, because we haven't started, we maybe started in the last year, the PS5 and Series S and X, because that's really when these games have stopped coming out. on last gen, like consistently. Was, I would say, in 2024 was was this year, which I think is just terrible. So I don't know. I hate it. I hate it so much. I mean, it's nothing against the Pro. I'm not gonna get it because it's like they'll take advantage of the PS5 by the time the PS6 is out, and they won't even. I don't even think they'll take advantage all the way of the Pro in
No,
3-4 years from now. That won't even happen. So like, why would you get it?
no, but that's my issue is that you haven't even taken advantage of the full hardware we have now. I don't even think that they would be able to take full advantage of the current PS5 by the time the 6 comes out. So that's where, and you look at a lot of the games that are coming out. Like, for example, there was a lot of footage of Star Wars Outlaws, and the closer we get to the game, the more up to date gameplay we're getting. The game is looking like it's regressing a little bit from a visual and performance standpoint.
Yeah,
and you're just looking at that and you're going like, it's a reason why sometimes PC has a better performance, but it can be hit or miss with PC. Yeah. But with consoles, it's always like this little downslide. And I'm just, what are we doing? We had 4 years, really more than 4 years, because they were working on this before the systems dropped. So what exactly are we doing that we just have not figured this out and not figured out how to get the most out of these systems by now? And you want to do a mid-gen refresh when you haven't even taken advantage or learned how to develop for the current systems.
It's things like Ratchet and Clank showed me like this is what you can do, and yes. that kind of like zoning in and out of things has been done, I think, since Ratchet and Clank, and like that is the power, right, of like the super fast SSD and all that stuff. But it just doesn't feel like Hellblade 2, for as forgettable, not that it's not a good game, but it was so short and it came and went. But like that's a good, like, could you have done Hellblade 2 6 years ago? No, you really couldn't. So I think we just need more of those type of things. I think the issue is these games are just not coming out fast enough. God of War Ragnarok, say for PlayStation, felt too samey to, I mean? So it didn't really feel like you were doing anything special. Like a Naughty Dog game, I feel like could do, like for PlayStation, I feel like it could do. I think Hellblade did it, and Ratchet and Clank's done it. So yeah, I don't know. Now, I never like the look of it, and now we're older, and us now with the PS5 Pro is different than when the PS4 Pro came out, right? We're a lot older than we were then. I'm looking at it strictly from, they're not going to take advantage of the Pro all the way. No. And like you said, they might not even do it for the PS5. So why in God's name would no, it's not maybe for, I mean, it is for upgrading and it's for new users. So I wouldn't say like people like me don't matter in that, in their opinion, but maybe they're only looking for new people. And like, okay, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But if they want people to upgrade, they've given you zero reason. Both. If Xbox did, it'd be the exact same. In fact, it might be worse. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
Xbox is integrated into, I think it's put all its chips really into PC for the most part. And I think that's honestly why you have games that like Hellblade that look like it belongs in this generation. I think that is why you even like, if Gears of War, even though that was a cinematic trailer, if it even looks close to what's in that trailer, because I believe that Xbox can do it, it just takes longer for them. And that's part of the other problem, is games taking out longer.
Right.
But as far as PlayStation goes, I just look at it and go, there's nothing you've really shown. It feels like kind of like the Halo Season 2 that we were just talking about. Does it feel like at the beginning of the life cycle for the PlayStation 5, you had Ratchet and Clank taking advantage of it with the portals to the different universes and things like that, seamless loading. You have a lot of other games that were kind of showing off. Astro, you had a lot of them just showing off what the PlayStation 5 can do. And then ever since then, it's that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Well, the last couple of years, it's been reliant on, like, the first couple, you had Astro, you had Returnal, you had a couple other Ratchet and Clank. These last couple have been, you put everything into Horizon, you put everything into Spider-Man, you put everything into and I mean, could Forbidden West have been done? That's a good, I'd say, technological, showcase. But like God of War wasn't. Spider-Man maybe 50-50, because like Spider-Man 1 did it on, like, maybe the Sandman thing, like you couldn't have done that. But most of Spider-Man 2, I feel maybe Mysterio. See, Mysterio was the same kind of thing because they did the same thing with Ratchet and Clank, right? So parts of Spider-Man 2 were show off kind of things, but not all of it. So yeah, I don't know. I feel I kind of want to make a video on it, but I think maybe ranting about how we haven't started a generation makes more sense when the Pro gets announced or when it gets released. Okay. Let's see. I wish they continued making more games that were made into a movie. Just one Tomb Raider, just one Assassin's Creed. Yeah, they did. I mean, they're expensive, right? So it's like if one fails, we watched. Remember, we did their Assassin's Creed review. I mean, what they were hinting at, maybe they should have just done in the first place, and then maybe we would have gotten sequels. You know, like the ending was cool to set up, but you could have done like that whole thing.
I would have put my best foot forward first.
Never forget Master Cheeks. Nobody could forget Master Cheeks. Maybe they should. Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
Returnal. Yeah, I was. Because when I said I stand with it, I think Astro's Playroom is the top 3. I don't think it's even that hard for me to make a video ranking all PS5 exclusives because I think I've played them all, and there's like 10 of them. So it's like there's not that many. Like if you go back and if you were to rank like PS3 exclusives, you'd have to make like a 3-hour video because it's so many of them. But Returnal, I would say is, oh man, maybe top 5 for me. Nick, no problem. It's summertime. People spend time with other people, go outside, touch grass, things like that. That happens. Well, I don't know if you touch grass because it's so hot out. If the game has to run on PS4 and PS5, the devs will make it for PS4 and just do. Yeah. It's always like if you have to make it on both. I mean, there's always that divide, and there was always those conspiracies of like, but you've got to make it with like the last gen in mind if you're gonna do it. And so I said this 4 years ago, and I will still say it now. Like, I think it just held back the mentality, like you know what I mean? Like when you're pitching a game and you're coming up with ideas, you've got to purposely limit yourself so it could work. You know what I mean? So you're not even trying to push it because you can't, because you know that going in. And I feel like that mentality screwed us and put us back at least 2 years, if not longer. You know what I mean? That's how I said this back when. I guess Ratchet and Clank was PS5 exclusive. That was good, but I was getting into trouble when I said like Horizon was Horizon on PS4. I think it also. I don't remember. It might have also come out on PS4.
It might have
because it did. It did because the DLC was only. It did that thing where the DLC is only on PS5, but the base game was on both. So I'm pretty sure I probably got mad at Horizon coming out on both, but time has aged. Time has, like, to my hot takes, time has done wonders on them. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I've been enjoying every game I play that come out this generation. Well, that's good. That's good. And then, we said this last week. Like, if you're playing, it's different from if you're playing 4 games a year compared to someone playing 20, like you have less of a scope, which isn't a bad thing. That's like literally your life. You know what I mean? That's just the way that it is. Are you playing? Are you into the college football stuff? Because that game is blowing up and selling consoles too.
I was actually, so it's been a very long time since I've played a sports game, like as far as like just bought one and just played it. And college football, I believe the very first trailer that it came out, I kind of got excited because it's the first college football game and since 2013 technically, because the last one to come out was 2014.
Yeah.
And I had knew pretty much early on just from the people that they had working on the game, hearing that they didn't go through the NCAA because the NCAA didn't want to give them a license, and that's why it's not called NCAA. So what they did, and this is kind of why I say like a lot of people give EA, rightfully so, crap for their practices, but as I say, like if you look at a lot of games recently that EA has made, like the Jedi series, for example. There is no microtransaction in those. There is just 100% love, combat, everything in there. And do they occasionally dip themselves in the money pits? Yes, that's mostly with the sports game, though, I'll find. But with this game specifically, this is one that I pointed out, and I pointed out to a friend because he didn't believe it when I was telling him. And he was like, oh, it's going to be like any other, football game. And the important thing for me was they reached out to, I think it's like, I know it's over 100 colleges in here. They reached out to 100 colleges, had either went and visit all of their stadiums, to get pictures or scans. For the first time in, a college football game, they have actual players' rights to actually appear in a game instead of just being numbers.
Yeah.
The amount of work that they put in, I don't think most studios or companies would put in to get that done. Because if you didn't get the permission of the NCAA, which would have done most of that work for you, a lot of people wouldn't even try it. They wouldn't even want to put the money or resources into it. So the fact that they went to every school, got every inch in detail, because their motto was every college is someone's favorite team.
Yeah.
And so just seeing people online go to, play with their team, and they have my college in there. Wow. They literally have my college, and my college is not a big college at all. And just seeing some of the pregame rituals, which is specifically tailored to each and every one of these colleges. The arena, the stadiums look exactly like they do. The mascots do the same routine. The players are lively. The way that they wear their jerseys a little bit different, that they're not allowed to do in the NFL. Everything there is specifically tailored to that specific team, stadium, and even the audience and how the audience reacts in the chants or what they wear, because sometimes some audiences spell their initials out in the crowd it could be all white, and then you have a section that's wearing blue, and it can form the initials. Just a lot of stuff like that, and the details. It's no wonder why a lot of people, this blew up, and a lot of people appreciated it, because you can actually see for once there was a sports game that actually put work in instead of repeating everything.
Yeah. It's been real. Like, I haven't played a Madden game in 8 years, and I've never been to, like, I like football, like my Buffalo Bills and all that stuff, but there was never a chance I was going to get this one, but I've been impressed. Like, and there's always like the worry where it's like, is it all show, because it does stem from EA? And then I guess my question would be, because everybody seemingly likes this, right? And it is legitimately, as people are pointing out, like with charts and stuff, like it's selling consoles in the middle of July. And they said Series S is selling about as well as it did, since launch. So it's like, this is legitimately pushing consoles. My question, to get controversial, is like, when Madden comes out and it's like a 5 out of 10 game and Angry Joe destroys it like every year, like, what does that show? You know what I mean? Like, what's that going to do? Either Madden has to get better, or next year's college football, they're going to remove all the features. Like, they, what I mean? Like, all the bad stuff that happens in sports games is going to happen next year for that.
I think the difference between this one is that, because a lot of people were talking about that, and a lot of the restrictions, and what a lot of people don't know is that the structure, and when a company goes to a game, you have the client. The client in this case would be, let's say, the NFL, right? And the NFL tells the developer or the studio, this is what we want in our game. This is what we don't want in our game. These are the restrictions. Madden and college football have two different teams. And because they didn't have to go through they didn't use ESPN, they didn't go through the NCAA, it is literally, EA has 100% control as far as the presentation of the game, what goes in the game and what goes out the game. Versus the NFL, for example, they make it very clear that, for example, you can't wear your uniform rolled up. You can't have helmets pop off when you tackle somebody. You can't have certain features in the game. Those are all NFL decisions.
Right.
So because they don't have anybody that they have to answer to on that side, there's nobody restricting them. That's why you see a lot of this going on, as to where the NFL, when they go to EA, they're blankly telling them, we want this to look like the real product. We don't want you taking any liberties. We don't want you putting anything in there that will possibly make the brand look bad, things of that nature. That is where most of that comes from. And that's why I'm not too worried about them taking all of that stuff out. If anything, I'm hoping that the NFL sees it and lightens up. I doubt it, but that is the reason why we don't, the difference between the two. I don't believe Madden is going to be good this year.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, yeah. And the hope is, it can pull Madden up a little bit going into next year. This year, though, it's just going to be like in the next month or whatever, because it's like you have college football doing really well, and then like you'll have Madden, and Madden will maybe outsell it, although that's not like an absolute. I don't think that's a guarantee, but like
No,
it's
it's not.
obviously very big, and I, the scores are going to be different, and then like
Yeah.
they're going to have to kind of explain themselves with that one. So yeah. I mean, it's just been cool to see. I've had people tell me like they've really liked it, and it's again not really something that I'll play, but I'm glad to see a little pulse. And maybe that's why. Well, this week has been bigger. You got that game,
Yeah.
Flintlock, news going on, all that jazz.
So much.
Like Parker said, a lot of low key. Yeah, some I would say still probably all in like the middle tier, lower tier. There hasn't been anything like Halo show canceling is a pretty big deal, I would say.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
And that dropped right before we got on.
yeah, I didn't even know. And I would normally put that on this channel, so I don't even know if I'll cover it. We'll see what happens. Do you think Rockstar will do a Red Dead remake after GTA?
I'm done with the remake. I get the appeal with them. I like the idea of the remakes. I just want some new IP. Rockstar is sitting on way too many classics to not have sequels to them. I mean, if you're gonna put that money into a remake, please just put it in the Bully 2. Give us something else.
Yeah. Yep. I think I wanted. I don't know. I would want GTA 4 to get remade more than Red Dead. And maybe it's because Red Dead 2 is already like that huge jump up. I mean, I don't actually really know how to explain it, but I think especially like years from, because the rumor is they're going to remake GTA 4 after 6. So now you're looking at like 3-4 years from now. Wouldn't Red Dead 3 be like 4 years after? So would you really need to remake 1? I don't know. Yeah, like you said, just Bully 2. We got to get out of this stupid GTA Red Dead back and forth thing in the first place.
We do, or just a new IP. I mean, could you imagine what a new Rockstar IP would look like in this day and age? Just letting their creative juices flow instead of being like literally tied at the hip to these two brands.
Yeah, I don't really think people express that, because that's a great point. You know what I mean? It's like because here's how you like word it, where I think it should make everybody kind of mad that we're in this situation. Like, yes, everybody's into GTA 6, but like take that, right? Imagine everybody. Why are we so excited for GTA 6? Is because we know that like they hire some of the most talented people that are out. You know what I mean? Like GTA 6 is going to be game changing because it just is. And so can you imagine? Yeah. So just take that and say, well, why are you excited for GTA 6? Well, if I were to tell you they could just do whatever they want and they'll make, X game, like you just got to allow them to do it. But they're like freaking stuck because, it's been even talked about with Take-Two. Like Take-Two relies so much on GTA, even though they have many other things. They fire all these people, all these layoffs, right? Because it's like they don't make the money they kind of need to outside of like maybe a 2 years, like, the next couple of years, they're good. But then like 5 years after that, they still kind of rely on GTA 6 for some reason.
They do. And I wouldn't be scared to take risks because Grand Theft Auto still sells a lot just as a game. And the shark cards, the money that they make off of shark cards yearly. Yeah. I mean, you can take a risk and still make GTA at the same time.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I'd like to know what like their plan. I'd like to know what their plan is because like the Insomniac hack, right? Like many studios, I imagine, have like that game plan of even like 10 years from now. So you go inside Take-Two. I imagine Red Dead 3 is next. Like I just, I think that, and GTA. So if you were to see a timeline, you'd see 6, you'd see 4 remake, you'd see Red Dead 3. But like, could you get like is Bully 2 like at the bottom, like where they write it down, where they'd like to try it again? Like, you know what I mean? I'd just like to know if they ever, and I'm sure they talk about these things. You know what I mean?
I think Bully 2 at this point is just press the red button. If there's ever a situation where Grand Theft Auto fails them, people are tired of Red Dead Redemption, I think that Bully is the absolute red button. That is what I truly believe at this point.
Yeah. I don't think people are I don't think people are done with GTA though.
No.
And they do it well, where it's like it's so spaced out, and it's like, can you ever actually be sick of GTA when you get one every 10 years. Like there's a good pacing to it where, you could fit Bully in, in between, by the way, but I don't know. Did you see Spyro 4 getting announced this fall and releasing 2025? I did not see that. I imagine that's a rumor, and I would say I don't believe it. Just because they just started it, I imagine. I can't wait to... Yeah. Angry Joe. I watch him, like, here and there. I used to watch him more, but, like, the Madden era, like, you have to tune into his channel, like, every August just to... And, like, the video... He gets older every year. Yep. The videos get longer, and then he gets, louder and more angry.
And, I mean, his Acolyte reviews have been absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And he really did try to give it a try. He really did try to give it a try.
Yeah. I watched part 1 of his the last episode's review. I didn't watch part 2 yet, though. Man, what are you doing? The Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster does... Yeah, I think the remaster for Capcom is to do more. Yep. Capcom's always 2 steps ahead, right?
Two steps ahead.
Yeah, they're on a freaking roll. So I think... I don't know if you would get remasters of all of them, but I could see a new game. Like, they could be very much thinking about bringing it back.
They are a company where they can do as many remasters and remakes as they want because we're getting both.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're getting great quality and we're getting both. We get a Resident Evil remake and we get a new IP or a new addition into a franchise. We're getting Monster Hunters and we're getting remakes. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very good in the last 10 years of the balance of, and that's why everybody, we say it all the time, right? That's why I think people understandably get so mad with, like, say, the Last of Us stuff, right? Like when or Elder Scrolls, like, when you re-release your game like 10 times, there's something bad to that, maybe always. But if you're going to do it once or twice, I think people have a longer leash if you're also giving them, so you know what I mean? Like if there's a Last of Us 2 remake or remaster, but you're also doing, and it's not that far away, Last of Us 3, it's not as big of a deal. Instead, it just looks like, to many people, that you're just cycling through the same stuff, and you got this next game coming out in like 8 years, right? That's always been the problem, I think, with remasters, remakes, is that, they could be done well. Like Mass Effects, I think, was done really, really well. Agreed. I really wanted them to do it for Dragon Age, but I guess they're just gonna like skip over it. Which, by the way, I've been, because of getting ready for the Veilguard, I went back. I'm starting Dragon Age Origins. That's a game that I don't talk about enough. That's trapped. Like Dragon Age Origins is not on current stuff. You might be able to, I think, get it through Game Pass, but you're playing the 360 version. The PC version needs mods and needs a patch, otherwise it will crash on you. The PS3 version is just outdated. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just want to throw that out there. Dragon Age Origins is a somewhat trapped game. Did you ever play Manhunt? I played Manhunt.
I have not.
That's one of those early, like, it would get banned and, they have to hide it in the stores and stuff because of the nature of it, which nowadays is just kind of silly, but they could never, you know what? Let me take that back. They can never do Manhunt now, because if you did Manhunt now, you gotta be careful with it. Not like the chat, but you gotta be careful with those controversial games back in time, because they're not controversial anymore. They're not a big deal. But if you remake them or make more of them, unless you're really unless you're really dropping a lot of like the core of the game, then you might get yourselves in trouble, with stuff. Manhunt with modern graphics, it would be. It would also probably be banned in like Australia or whatever. Oh yeah, did you see Resident Evil? Yeah, did you see that Resident Evil 7 on that sold 2,000 on the phone? It was like a big failure. Huh. What do you think? Tragic.
That is a rare fail for Capcom there.
I think it just like because there's two. I saw 2 different views on it, right? One, I saw like kind of a meme like thing where somebody said like, I wonder why, and it was the controls, and like the whole screen is taken up by the buttons, so like it looks terrible. But also then there's the other viewpoint of like, this is the whole mobile versus not mobile thing. Yeah. And it actually is very powerful, I think, right? Because it's like Resident Evil is so big, Capcom is so big, but you put it on phones and you only get 2,000. Let me finish that sentence. But meanwhile, you have millions playing like Candy Crush or you know what I mean? So it's like they don't overlap and that's why I get mad at like a Sony, right? Where it's like you've got to be careful because these things do not transfer as easily as you think they do.
No, they don't. And honestly, that's why I've always had it in the three categories because mobile games are the way that they are because they work perfectly for what they are. Your phone is for convenience mostly. And they're a game that's going to get you by and convenient. Some people like to play them at home. But in a world where you have handhelds, that's also mobile gaming, but a more traditional way to game mobily. And I know a lot of people probably don't take their handhelds outside of their house. I'm a madman, I do. But I just figured that things like the Steam Deck or the 3DS or the Switch, things of that nature are what I would consider for people to play games like Resident Evil on, and I would never try to turn that into a mobile game because you're it's all screen. You know that you have to put the buttons there.
Yeah. Yeah. The look of like I thought of it from the angle of like these things don't transfer first, and then I saw the control scheme, and it's like maybe you know that obviously impacts it. It's a game that is what 7.5 years old, so you know there are things that with 2,000 feels kind of low. So
very
yeah. So I feel like if you're gonna do it, just like if you do it, you got to play almost by like their rules, right? So if you make a phone game, you got to make it for people that, and that's why, like, if you were to do like a Last of Us, or you do a PlayStation franchise, you put on phones, you're not gonna get love from the people that originally liked that franchise because they're not gonna follow you over. You'd be looking for brand new people. So that's just like the way that is.
I think they should take the same approach that Uncharted took. There was a game that they had specifically for the Vita.
Yeah, Golden Abyss. Yeah.
Yes, and that one played completely different, had a self-contained story. That's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I have that. I have that physically, actually, Golden Abyss.
I have that physically. I traded in all of my Vita stuff, and I regret it.
Yeah, Vita stuff is expensive. I'll tell you, like to try to get a collection of Vita games is not gonna happen. Tragic move for Capcom, indeed. Yeah, no, I'm against banning. I just think or censorship. I'm very much against that. But I think you'd be up against it if you did it for that. Walking Dead, I do want to cover Walking Dead on Back to the Past. I've thought about it many times. I did a whole thing on Podcast Now of season 1, and then I did all 4 of them. I still love them. May I say also, completely off topic, but I played and replayed and rebeat Batman Arkham Asylum since we last talked. Can I just say that it's like a masterpiece? Yeah. It's still so good. Like it's just such, and I think I really tried to look at the pacing this time versus like the other 5 times I've beaten it. The pacing is like unmatched. Like it truly is my favorite art. Like I've said that before. It's maybe not the best. Like Arkham City is probably the best, but Arkham Asylum is always like my favorite Arkham. It's just like the most contained and it funnels you through, but you have opportunity to go out. So it's a little, like some of the combat has, compared to what they will do later is slower and you'll hit like counter and it won't work all, randomly. Like there's some jank to it, but it's such a perfect, almost perfect game.
It is. It is beautiful. Last time I played it was last year.
Oh wow. Now, do you do the Return to Arkham or do you do the actual?
Oh, I do I have the PC version, so that's the actual version. The Return to Arkham, I believe, never came to PC. It's only on consoles. Yeah. But I do have it redeemed because it was free 1 month for PlayStation PSN. So I do have it on PlayStation, but I went back and played it on PC, specifically Steam Deck last year. And that original version is always, to me, I just enjoy it better. Like the
I played Return to Arkham, and it's always been said, and I very much agree. Like they make it too bright.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the biggest. Like they do some face change type thing. I think it looks pretty okay on Batman, but some other characters. But I think the biggest issue is whatever the technology kind of decision. The remaster makes it look more vibrant, and it takes away from like the tone and the atmosphere because it's a more dark, kind of like muddy in the original. And I can still picture like you think of the opening. It's very dark, and then you watch
Yes.
it in Return to Arkham, and it's like all of a sudden way more bright, and it's like, oh, like
We
it
didn't need
doesn't.
this.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only. I mean, like the game itself is nearly perfect. What they did with the remaster, yeah, that I don't know. They shouldn't have done that one. I will do Red Dead 2 eventually. It came out 2018.
Yep.
So 2018. Oh God, how many years? 6. Oh, I missed the 5 year. Well, maybe I'll do it like next year or the year after because I try to go 5, 10, 15. Can't wait till the 10 year, right? Because that's 4 years from now. That'd be too long. Hope some other studio gets the rights for new Batman Arkham games. Oh, that'll never happen. Well, maybe.
I mean,
Didn't
they did say that they were not opposed to licensing their games out to other studios. So I think that what you need is people just willing to go back and return the form. But also, I mean, as a comic book fan, I would like to see other characters kind of get games because there is a way to have an Arkham game, but with a different character, like Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Fresh new set of villains.
Yeah.
Use free flow. You can just use free flow. He's got an arrow element, so I mean that's gonna be a big part of combat. But
yeah,
literally, you have potential to kind of have better fights a little bit because of the type of villains that Green Arrow has and in his arsenal just in general. The limitations that he has compared to Batman. I think that could work 100%. So it's kind of like how people say like Marvel should do a Daredevil game. There's other characters that you can do that would fit inside of that free flow combat where they don't have powers, but you can still put yourself in that scenario where you're still a man fighting many, and it doesn't feel like you're overpowered. You're being overwhelmed if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. You got support here. People agree with you. Green Arrow. No, I mean, no, you're right. You're right. Did you see there was a rumor? I don't know where I saw it. I think it was today. And it was something like is it maybe a rumor or maybe even confirmation that they want to like split WB and some of it's just streaming and the rest of it is like other stuff. So yeah. And they laid off more people, I think, today or yesterday. Oh, NetherRealm lost their whole mobile. I think 50 people were fired from NetherRealm, and I gotta be real. I didn't know NetherRealm had a mobile division.
Neither did I.
So laughing out of sadness, not out of No, I feel bad for those people, but I genuinely, when I saw that, I said they had a 50-person mobile team. Didn't know that. Cool. You shouldn't have let them go. Or maybe, I don't know. You should have done something to protect them a little bit more. Nick agrees with you or selling my V. Man, you people getting rid of the greatest handheld console of all times should feel sick.
I do, man. I still have my PSP, but my Vita, man, I'm trying to remember what did I trade it in for. It was something specific.
Better have been good. Better have been something you still have. I mean, now Vitas are. If you want like a new Vita, you got to pay like $250 online.
Yep.
It's a pretty. It's not like ultra rare. Like you're not looking at 500, 600, 700, but you're looking at a pretty good price. I already read that. Arkham Asylum is so freaking good. The atmosphere amazing. Yeah. I think I can still picture. What's the Bane line? You can picture the what does he say? Picture the fire. I don't know. I can picture the atmosphere of the original one. I do have the original Red Dead. I have Red Dead on PS3. I got it for my birthday in 2010, so like a month after it came out. And then when they pulled the shenanigans with whatever the last year or whatever that was, I got the Xbox One physical where it's both Red Dead 1 and Undead Nightmare. Because you get it physically, it's on the disc. That's a really good one to have. So I got that one. Give some other DC here. Yep, Green Arrow. Yeah, everybody's with you. Green Arrow always seems to be the guy, isn't it? And now you said something. The whole like he, similar to Batman in the sense of just kind of like an everyday man. Like it's a man, right?
He's also rich. He's basically like Robin Hood.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
but
like, do you think that makes him stand out compared to like Aquaman or Flash? Is that whole, because maybe it translates to the free flow combat better if it's a Green Arrow versus a Flash? You know what I mean?
Yes. And also the fact that I mean, there's animated movies and comics where Green Arrow actually is able to put an arrow at the right point where, I forget if it was Superman or Flash. I'm pretty sure it was Superman though. And he crosses it, and the kryptonite comes out, but his arrows is what I like about Green Arrow is that his arsenal, as far as like what he can make his arrows out of, is the better thing. Because while Batman has batarangs, imagine somebody just being able to shoot an arrow, and when it gets to you, like a boxing glove pops out, or firework pops out, or just anything really. It's Green Arrow is somebody that I think that is untapped in the movies. The show for the first few seasons was really good.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what gave a lot of people confidence in Green Arrow, and I'm shocked that they just won't pull the trigger on him.
Yeah. Yep. It has to be the budget. The stuff we talk about. Games are so expensive. Time. If it doesn't work, that would be such a big deal. To go with the hot commodities of. But right now we're literally stuck with like Batman and Batman adjacent, like with Gotham Knights.
Give me a Nightwing game though, with free flow though. We don't take everything out, but just give me a Nightwing, but make it like Arkham.
Yeah. But we're stuck with Batman and adjacent and Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
and that's Superman. I do think is going to get added to that group, but I don't really know how much more it'll grow from. You know what I mean? Like I constantly pitch Teen Titans. I really think Teen Titans makes a lot of sense.
Did you hear about the Justice League leak?
Yeah, that was that rumor, but I don't believe that rumor.
It seemed a little sketchy, but I'm like,
yeah,
I hope so.
I mean, that's there. Teen Titans, Justice League, Superman, but I don't know how. Like those are all I think very reasonable. Even Teen Titans, I think, is very reasonable. I really don't know how far out you would go after that in the big AAA. Another thing that I think people, including myself, maybe don't even talk. Like, why can't we just have some of these smaller indies and have it be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if we could have a Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown type, now maybe not necessarily, a Metroidvania, but could we do that where it's a small team and it's just like an experimental game, and there you could do a Flash game, you could do a Green Arrow game or whatever. Like, why aren't we trying that?
We did that before. I mean, that's when you think about Batman Arkham,
or that's what that was. Yeah,
that's exactly what they were. They didn't own Rocksteady yet.
Yeah. Or even like then they would do is it Return to Blackgate? Is that the game? And that was like the portable kind of one. That was different. That was side scrolling free flow kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. They really, I mean, like, this is so easy. To be honest with you, it's really not hard. You just make like smaller teams. That's all you have to do. In this day and
age, like the technology and the resources that indie developers have, does it take them longer? Yes, but I feel like you're gonna get a lot more creativity if you just don't. If the studio doesn't get involved, it's gonna be great.
Yep. Okay, we're getting towards the end. Anything you guys want to say in the chat? We'll read it out. I don't have GTA 5 physically, actually. Funny enough. I've seen it on is GTA 5 on 3 different gens?
So I have GTA 5 physically. I have GTA 5 physically on the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One.
Oh my God.
And I do have it for the PlayStation 5 upgrade was free, but I do have it on PC as well.
Oh my God. You've got it 4 times, and 4.5. I think I own it. I own it digitally. I don't think I own it. I own it digitally, I think, on PS3, like the PS3 store. So I don't even know if I think I'd have to rebuy it. I've seen it. I've seen every time I go into there's a couple things when you go into retro stores you see, right? Every Halo is always there, and there's like 1,000. All the Assassin's Creeds, like, and every sports game known to man, like all that stuff. But you'll always find GTA. I'm the system of choice. Like and there's many generations to choose from. You'll always see it. So I've seen it many, but you know what? It's still kind of expensive. Like it's still $20, $25, $30. And it's like, The game's been out for like 50 years, 30 different versions. Like, why is it $30? I don't know. There's been every time there's a sale, it jumps between like $5 and then like it goes back up to 40 or 50 or whatever it is. It just goes back and forth, you know.
It's like Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's a joke. I still have my 3DS. Very good. Very good. We have a 3DS.
I just actually today took my 3DS out.
There it is.
Because I found out that apparently with Nintendo batteries, if you do not charge your battery within 6 months, it won't work. So my replacement battery came today, and I literally just replaced the battery in my 3DS. And now I am, they took down the servers, but there is another online option for the Wii U and the 3DS. I'll let y'all look that up on your own. But I literally just did that today, so I could go back and play some of my older Dragon Ball games.
Very good, very good. I'm gonna do it through other means like Legacy of Goku and stuff on Game Boy. I'm gonna do that through computer. We'll say. I want to play those. Wow, I didn't know that. I feel like my daughter, we gave it because my wife had it, and now my daughter kind of has it. But I don't think we've turned it on in a while. But when we gave it to her, we did turn it on, and it still did work. So maybe ours.
With my Game Boy Color, with my Game Boy Advance, the battery is shot, so I have to buy a replacement for that. Because
you can buy a replacement battery on
Amazon. I bought the replacement one for this one was 12. The replacement one for the Game Boy Advance one at least is 8. Wow. They're not expensive at all, and they even come with the screw kits to help you screw back.
Good. That's the kind of preservation that we need. What's the one? It's expensive, but isn't there one that is like it's a third party, but it can hold the cartridges of all of that? And I forget what it's Pocket something.
I know what you're talking about.
It looks like a Game Boy, and you could put all of the cartridges in it, but it's like $400 or $500. It's very expensive. I forget what it's called. I want to say it's Pocket something, but I saw it. Somebody posted because there's like a new like aluminum or whatever color and it's like $500. And the only value there is
if you have a bunch of games already.
If you have a bunch of games of the different, like if you have like 2 Game Boy and then 5 DS and then 3DS, like that's probably the only, and you don't want to have all of the other handhelds. But they're not even that expensive. I think you can get a Game Boy not too bad. None of those are that bad. No, it's not a DS case. Let me look it up. It's got to be. It's not I want to say like Pocket Watch, but that is like that's literally a pocket watch. How would you describe it if you're typing it into Google?
Let's see.
Nintendo physical. I don't know how to find it. Analog Pocket. I was right. Pocket's in the name. $400 just the base one on Amazon. It looks, can I show you without? Nah, I don't want to show you without giving away like my name and stuff. I'm not going to show it, but just type in Analog Pocket and it looks very sleek. Oh, you know what it probably has too is better battery life, I imagine. But $400, yeah, right. Buy 2 Vitas for that. You sick people that sold it. All right, let's see. Well,
imported the Vita from Japan.
This one, Vita? Yeah. And people always say, and I haven't done it. You can, do certain things to the Vita to like open it. Like the Vita can be used to play, I think, a lot of PSP games and then like PS1 and 2. And every like Reddit forum I see is like you need to do it, but there is a chance you brick the console. So I've always been afraid. I'm very stupid with that stuff. I think I would break it. Some Vita games there's some Vita games that are hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. Oh, my wife is messaging me. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Teen Titans. It would be. I don't have Batman, but I do have. Oh God, I have one of the Walking Deads and I have Wolf Among Us. I'll get all the Telltale games.
I have the well, no, I don't have any of the Telltale games physical, I don't think.
I
I
have them
remember
all
I had,
digital, but I only have a couple physical.
yeah, all of mine's the Batman series specifically were all on Xbox. I might have gotten the first one physical, but the second one I think that was digital.
Nice. Indies. Sorry, my part of my family is camping, so they're asking me questions, and I have to. I do have. I actually looked. I have the Spyro Reignited trilogy on PS4. Physically, want a Static Shock game? Sure.
Yes, please. Please.
Yeah, I'll take literally any of them. Did I Planet Zoo? Oh God. I mean, there's like Planet Coaster and then Planet Zoo and then Park Beyond. I think I have like all of them. Did you see the whole Planet Coaster 2 water park stuff that I freaked out about?
did.
Ah, so good.
I was like, Alex is gonna enjoy it.
I had a couple people tell me like when they saw that trailer, they thought he's gonna love it. And I said yes.
That's the first thing I thought, honestly. I'm like, ooh.
That means
This is
I'm
gonna
making
be
an
great.
impact. So I have to keep going with this water thing. The jailbreak, yeah. You really don't have to worry about damaging if you follow a good guide. I just feel like to do Dragon Age, right? I'm pretty sure. So Dragon Age Origins will crash on you on PC at a certain point if you don't download a patch.
Okay.
I'm 80% sure I did that right. But then I spent like 2 hours watching all these videos and all this about mods because there's some really solid mod. And now, they're not required. They're to enhance the experience. So I download all these mods. I made an account on Nexus Mods for the first time ever, right? Make an account. I downloaded like 6 mods. I do all that, right? Yesterday I fire up the game and none of the mods are installed. And I was like, but I did what it said. So, I mean, that's how stupid, like for me, that's what you're dealing with. That like I followed the guide and the mods are not installed. So like, I don't know. And now I'm praying that I at least did that update because I don't really need the mods, but I need that update because the game will crash like 20 hours in and I'm not going to restart it. You know what I mean? Like at that point. So if the game crashes on me, I have to figure it out. I have to install that patch, or maybe it's already installed and I just don't know it. But
that's the thing about modding or just anything in general. Like for the Steam Deck, for example, in order to get some of the games on the Epic Games launcher, you have to go specifically into certain portions of the files in general and change things like manually.
You have to add an override folder and all sorts
of
which I did a lot of this stuff, by the way.
It's a lot, and you just sit there like, it's always the most minute step that you don't know what you did. And when you go back and do it and it works finally, like for the 4th or 5th time that you go back and do it, you will have no way of knowing what did you miss. What was the step? What did I do?
And so maybe this is a very trustworthy individual here. So if you were to send me a guide, then I probably could make it work for the Vita. But I've had that thing. I bought it. What did I buy? Like a month after it came out. So like it's an old Vita. It's held strong and it's honestly not gotten as much use as it should have. But I don't want to break it. If I were to damage my PS Vita, because I would have to buy just out of like priorities. I'd have to buy one. I have to explain to my wife why I'm buying a PS Vita in 2025.
I definitely want one back. I want a brand new one. I want to make sure that it's white because that's the color I have.
Yeah,
the white one.
Yeah, I got the black one.
Yeah, I would want the exact one I had, and
there's the Vita regular, and then there's like that Vita. There's the screen change from and
it got thinner. I have the original one, but white.
Oh yeah, that's good. Sleek, very sleek. And then to end it with a Scream question, do you think we'll get Scream in 2025? Probably. I think
so.
I think it's like 75% likely. Can't wait. 2025 is going to be big for so many different reasons. I hope and pray.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
No, I get to this year, but next year, from a gaming perspective, from an entertainment perspective, I know everybody's hit or miss on the the James Gunn Superman. I'm very excited for it. It filmed here. It just wrapped filming yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that movie. I'm very excited for his vision just because Metropolis was based off of here and he came here to do it.
Yeah.
We have Superman statues all over the city. We have them in the airports. A lot of the actors took pictures with him.
And that's next July, right?
Next July, yep. So it's a lot of reasons to kind of be excited just for many different reasons. And I think that next year will be, like, for entertainment purposes, one of the best year across the board probably that we've had in a long time.
Yeah. From games and movies. Well, in the meantime, we got Deadpool and Wolverine next week. That's pretty exciting, at least. Yep, things are picking up. This week started to pick up. Next week, maybe even just with that movie, we'll pick up, and then August for games and stuff. Oh yeah, Marvel's Wolverine. We've gone into the games, Hydra and GTA and lots of different. 2025 will be I think like the big games will be like the big focus, and I'm sure there'll be trickle down stuff as well. All right, guys. Well, as always, we appreciate you being here. Sway, anything you wanna? We should be good to go for next week as well. Yep, but anything you want to say?
Thank you all for coming out. I know this was a little bit of a different time, but you guys showed up. You kept the energy. You a lot of brilliant questions, a lot of great intakes. Just love interacting with you all, Alex. You're amazing as always. If you joined, whether you're watching now or watching the replay, I thank you so much. I can't put into words.
Thank you guys for being here. Next week, hopefully, I think would be back to the normal time, and then we'll have to see. But no, thank you guys for being here. Great topics as always. You guys carried the show, and we'll see you all on the next one. See you next week.